Welcome back, friends, to my YouTube video. If you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, you can please subscribe, share the video, comment and like it. So in the previous video we talked of an introduction to biology, where we talked of different branches of biology. We talked of characteristics of biology, and also we discussed two types of cells, a plant cell and an animal cell. We also considered the detailed structure of these two cells and the differences and the similarities, and we talked of the functions of cells and cell components and why they perform those functions. So in this lesson we are going to talk of cell specialization. So if you haven't yet watched that video, you can please do it so that you can able to follow through. I've put the link down in the description of this video so that you can just tap on that link so that it can take you to that video. So what is cell specialization? What is to specialize? To specialize, it means to perform, to be trained for a particular function. That's what it can mean. So cell specialization, this is the process by which cells undergoes structural changes and in chemical composition in order to perform a certain function. It's the process by which a cell undergoes structural changes and in chemical composition in order to perform a specific function. Okay? An example of specialized cells, we have ciliated cells. Ciliated cells. We have root hair cells. We have xylem vessels, guard cells, nerve cells, muscle cells, white blood cells, red blood cells, and more other. So now, let's just consider how these cells are specialized, the shape and the function where they can found. Okay, so we are going to start by looking at ciliated cells. So ciliated cells, it is found in respiratory tract, and it has got air-like structures like this. These are cilia cell. It has got a nucleus. So ciliated cells can only found in animal cells. These are ciliated cells. Okay, this is the nucleus. Since it's an animal cell, this means that it can have chloroplast and a cell wall. So these are cilia cells. Air-like structure, cilia. Then we have cell membrane. We have a nucleus. A nucleus. Then, if this cilia cell is detailed, meaning you can include the mitochondria, include the ribosome, include the Golgi body, and also the rough in the presemic reticulum, smooth in the presemic reticulum. So if you haven't yet watched the previous video where I drew those structures, I've put the link in the description of this video. You can just tap there and watch the previous video. So this structure, these cells are found in the respiratory tract and oviduct. Okay? What is the function of this cell? Its function in the respiratory tract is to remove dust particles in the mucus and germs as the air is entering. Okay, as someone is breathing, it's the one that moves germs and dust particles. What of the function of it in an oviduct? Its function is to move the ovum toward the uterus. The ovum can't move on its own, but it moves with cilia. The cilia, it propels. As it is propelling, it moves the ovum to the uterus. So now, what makes these cilia cells to perform its function? So these cilia cells, it has the presence of cilia, which are the air-like structures. There are numerous of them. It makes it to perform its function. And also it has numerous of mitochondria. This mitochondria, it generates a lot of energy so that the cell can have the power to do its function. So numerous cilia, air-like structures, numerous or high concentration of mitochondria which generate energy. It makes the cilia cell to do its function. Okay? So in an exam, a question can come to say, explain the structure of ciliated cell that enables it to perform its function. So just write to those things. It has got cytoplasmic cilia that are numerous. It has a lot of mitochondria that makes it to generate its energy. Okay, so that's how it is. You can be asked to draw the structure. You have to know it, because even in the multiple choice can come to say, what specialized cell is drawn below in figure this and this? Then you have to identify. So this is how ciliated cell looks like. So what of root hair cells? So root hair cells, these are cells that are found near tip of the root. Okay, root hair cells. Root hair cells. They are found at the tip of the root. So these cells are responsible for the absorption of water and mineral salt. So the structure of root hair cell is a root. Is it from a plant cell or an animal cell? It's an animal. So since it's an animal, since it's a plant cell, you know the parts to put there. What are those parts? You have to include the cell wall. But since it's a root cell, it shouldn't have a chloroplasts, because chloroplasts are only found in the parts where photosynthesis takes place, like the leaf. So include the cell wall and the cell membrane. This is the cell wall, cell membrane, cell wall, cell membrane. Okay, it has got a vacuole which has tonoplast as a membrane. Okay, and the cell sap. This is cell sap and the tonoplast. It has the cytoplasm, which has a nucleus, but it doesn't have a chloroplast because photosynthesis occurs in leaf. Okay, so now the function is to absorb water and mineral salt, and also it anchors the plant in the ground. It wards the plants that family. So this is the structure of root hair cells. So that's how it is. Now, what makes this cell to do its function? Because it doesn't have chloroplast. This makes us to have more room for water absorption. It increases the room for water absorption and minerals. It also has high concentration of mitochondria, which provide energy for active absorption or transportation of mineral salts. Remember, mineral salts, they are actively reabsorbed. This means that they need active transport for it to be reabsorbed. It needs energy. That's why it has a lot of mitochondria. It also has, it is numerous. It has got a lot of air, numerous of it. That's why it creates a large surface area for the absorption. They are numerous. So those are the things that makes it to do its function. So a question also can come. Explain what makes a root air cell to do its function. Just write all those things that I've mentioned. Numerous of it, that increases surface area for absorption. It has got a lot of mitochondria, which provides more energy for the absorption of mineral salts. It doesn't have chloroplast. This increases much space for water and mineral salt to be reabsorbed. And it is also elongated. Let's go to the xylem. Xylem, where is it found? A xylem, is it an animal cell or a plant cell? Xylem, it is a plant cell. But we know what a plant cell has. But xylem, it has got different structure. But the most structure that identifies a xylem, it is lignified structure. So this is the structure of a xylem. Whenever you see lignified structures of anything that is lignified, like ring-like structures, something like this, ring-like structures, just know that this is a xylem. So these are lignified structures. This. Know that this is a xylem. What is the function of xylem? It's to transport water and mineral salts. It's different from a root. A root is to absorb, but this one is just to transport. After the root has absorbed, then xylem, it transports that water to the parts where water and mineral salts are needed. Because of lignified structure, it offers mechanical support to the plant. It makes a stem of a plant to be that strong. So this is the cell wall. We know it's a plant cell wall. This is cell wall. Then it has got lignified. These are lignified, lignin. These are the structure of a xylem. Now, what makes the xylem to do its function? It has got the absence of protoplasm. What makes a protoplasm? We said the nuclear, we said cytoplasm, we also said cell membrane. It's absent in xylem. That's why it does its function. So the absence of this protoplasm, it makes the xylem to have hollow space. The whole of the xylem, this wall, it is lignified, which makes it strong to do its function, which makes it the stem to be that strong to give a mechanical support to the plant. Let's go to a muscle cell. It is also a specialized cell. So just from a word muscle cell, where is it found? Is it an animal cell, a plant cell? A muscle cell is an animal cell. What is the function? The function is to contract so that it can produce movements. To produce movement, that's the function of a muscle cell. Now, what makes it to do its function? Because it has an abundance, it has a lot of mitochondria that release a lot of energy in order for a muscle to contract so that it can produce movement. For a person to move, that person, what happens in the body is the contraction of muscles. As the muscle is contracted, more energy has to be supplied. So a lot of mitochondria is concentrated in a muscle so that more energy is produced. So what is the structure? A muscle cell is structured like this. And it has a nucleus here. So it has got something like this. This is a muscle cell. So it's an animal cell. So you can be asked in an exam to say, name the parts where the following cell is found. Is it the muscle? Is it the heart? Is it the brain? Is it where? So as we are discussing, when you talk of a specific cell, just like we talked of a ciliated cell, cilia cells, is found in the oviduct and also the respiratory tract. That's where those cells are found. So you should also know where those cells are found. Those are potential multiple choice questions, and it comes. So what makes the muscle cell to do its function? Because of a lot of mitochondria that it has, and it has also actin and myosin. These are filaments that makes the muscle to contract. So those are the things. So explain what makes the muscle cell to do its function. Just right, because it has actin, myosin filament, and a lot of mitochondria that release a lot of energy. Then actin and myosin, it plays a part in contraction of the muscle. What of the red cells? A red blood cells, red blood cells. They are also specialized. The function that is done by a red blood cells can't be done by any other cell. That's why the name specialized cell, meaning it's only that cell that can do that function, no other cell that can do that function. It is specialized for that function. So there are a lot of specialized cells that we can name, but just for that level, as all-level biology. The one that I've listed are essential for the moment. So what is the function of red blood cells? The function of red blood cells is to transport oxygen and a small amount of carbon dioxide. So red blood cell does not only transport oxygen, it also transports a small amount of oxygen. That's the point to take note. It can come true or false. Red blood cells can only transport oxygen. Is it true? No, it's false. There is also a small amount of carbon dioxide. There's also another name for red blood cells. What is it? The other name for red blood cells is erythrocytes. Now, what makes the red blood cells to do its function? So let's just draw the shape of red blood cells. It's like this, okay? Since it's the animal cell, meaning doesn't have the cell wall. It also doesn't have a nucleus. A nucleus doesn't have, but it has a biconcave shape. A biconcave shape. That's how it looks. So this is the red blood cells. They doesn't have a nucleus. So biconcave, because of biconcave shape, this is the spelling. It increases the surface area for oxygen to diffuse into the red blood cells. It also has the red pigment, which is the hemoglobin, that makes it to do its function. So the presence of hemoglobin, it makes the red blood cells to do its function. So when hemoglobin combines with oxygen, it forms oxhemoglobin. Oxhemoglobin. It doesn't have nuclear. Hence, since it doesn't have nuclear, it leaves the space so that more hemoglobin can accommodate the red blood cells in order to carry more oxygen. So that's what makes the red blood cells to do its function. Then the other specialized cell is the nerve cell. So a nerve cell, is it an animal cell or a plant cell? It is an animal cell. Another name for a nerve cell, it's a neuron. So what is the structure? There are three types of nerves cells, of which we are going to consider under neurons, those. So what is the function of nerve cells? So the general structure, let's just draw. It has got the cell body with the dendrites here. Then it has got an axon, okay? Axon. Then it has got nerve endings. These are the nerve endings. So it's like the nerve endings. So something that will look like this is a nerve cell. This is the cell body. This is the axon. These are nerve endings. Then these are dendrites. Okay. So what makes this nerve cell to do its function? The function is to conduct electrical impulse from one part to another part, from one neuron to another neuron, from the neuron to the target organ. That's the function, just to conduct impulse from one place to another. What makes it to do its function? Because it has dendrites that conduct impulse from neighboring cells. It corrects impulse from the neighboring cells. So the impulse is collected from these dendrites, from other neuron. So other neuron, it is connected to other neuron by nerve endings. These are the nerve endings which are there. These nerve endings, at the end here, there are some dendrites that are attached to here of other neurons. So it has got dendrites that collects impulse from neighboring cells, neighboring nerve cells or other cells, can be sensory cell. It has got the presence of this axon that carries impulse from one end of the neuron to the other, from here to here, the information. That's the function. That's the parts that makes the nerve to do its function. What of a white blood cell? A white blood cell, is it an animal cell or a plant cell? It's an animal cell. This means that there are some parts that doesn't have. So white blood cell. So what's the function of a white blood cell? Is to fight or to defend the body against infection. There are two types of white blood cells. We have phagocytes and lymphocytes. Cytes and lymphocytes. So phagocytes, the function of phagocyte is to defend the body against infection by engulfing and digesting the germs. To engulf, like to swallow, to get the germ, enter into the cell and kill it. To engulf germs, that's how it fights against infection, and digest that germ after it has entered into the cell, and it kills it. Those are the phagocytes. Then lymphocyte, it defends the body against infection by producing antibodies and toxins. Okay, so this one, it's engulf, this one to engulf, but this one is to produce antibodies and toxins. Okay, so antibodies, these are proteins that are produced to go and fight with that germ. Then antitoxins, they are just chemicals that are produced so that it can neutralize the toxins that a germ produces, or the chemical that the germ produces to cause a disease or an infection. Then this antitoxin goes there and neutralizes that toxin. So these are the two types. Now we talk of shapes of the phagocytes and shape of a lymphocyte. A phagocyte, it has got a robbed nuclear. It can be this nuclear. This is the lymphocyte. It can be a nuclear like this. Just know that these are robes of nucleus. That's a phagocyte. Then for a lymphocyte, it has got only one big nuclear. The nuclear is not robbed. It has got a very big nuclear. So this is the nuclear. This is the lymphocyte. So this is how the shape looks like. So now, what makes these cells to do its function? For the phagocyte, because of the robbed nucleus, this robbed nucleus, it makes it easy to engulf the germ. Okay? Do not have a specific shape. The rob doesn't have a specific shape. Hence, it makes it easier to engulf a foreign body. So the robes are in different shapes, but the phagocyte, it doesn't have a specific shape. It changes in shape. The change in shape, it makes it to engulf the germ. Okay? Then the lymphocyte, what makes it to do its function? Because of the presence of the large nucleus and the small cytoplasm. So that's what you can see. This is the cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is very small. This is the nucleus. It's very big. So these are the things. So the question can come: describe the structure of the lymphocyte, of the phagocyte, that enables it to do its function. So just talk of those things that I've been mentioning. What of the guard cell? A guard cell. A guard cell, is it a plant cell or an animal cell? It's the plant cell. Since it's the plant cell, what structures comes to your mind? It has got a vacuole, cell wall. So what is the function of this guard cell? Guard cell. The function of the gut cell is to control the opening and the closing of the stoma. A stoma. A stoma is the plural name for stomata. Stomata. Stomata, this is the pore found in the leaf, so that water can enter and leave the cell, so that gases can enter and leave the cell. It's just the ore. Now, what makes this ore, the size of the ore, is in the gut cells. So gut cells are found in pairs. The gut cells can't be alone. So these are the any cells that you are going to see that will be in pairs. This is the gut cell. It has got a nucleus, and any other parts that are necessary for a plant cell. This is it. Then this is now a stoma. This wall, this is a stoma. A stomata, since it's singular, it's one. So they are in pairs, 1 and 2 make a stoma. These are two cells, gut cells. Okay? What of phloem? Phloem cells. A phloem is also an example of a plant cell. What is the function of a phloem cell? The function of a phloem cell is to transport manufactured food from one part of the plant to the other. What is the structure of a phloem? This structure is this. Anything that you're going to see like this, it has got sieve plates. These are sieve plates. These are sieve plates. These are sieve plates. From the other end of the phloem cell, and also this is the end of other cell. So these sieve plates have got pores here. These are the pores. These pores are the one that allows where food pass, and it has got another cell beside it. So it has got a cell and a nucleus here. This is a phloem. Whenever you're going to see something like this, that's not that this is a phloem. These are the sieve. These are the sieve plates. These are the sieve plates. This is a phloem cell, and this is a companion cell. A companion, which is another cell on its own. Companion cell. This cell, it provides energy to the phloem, so that phloem can do its function. It also supplies the enzymes to the phloem, so that phloem can do its part. So, function of phloem to transport manufactured food from one part of the plant to another. So now, what makes this phloem to do its function? Because of the presence of companion cell, the one that I've talked about, this companion cell, it supplies phloem with enzymes and energy for it to do its work. Okay? It has got also perforated holes, which are sieve plates, which allows food to pass. What of another specialized cell? Another specialized cell is the one for plant cell. What is that? The name of that cell? It is a palisade. Palisade cell. What is the structure of the palisade cell? This palisade cell, this is where a lot of photosynthesis in the plant occurs. Since it is the part where a lot of photosynthesis occurs, what structure do you think can be numerous in this? So this is the nucleus. Which part is responsible for the photosynthesis? It's chloroplast. So chloroplast is abundant in this. So there are a lot of chloroplasts, a lot of it, and this is the vacuole. So this is the parasite. That's where photosynthesis takes place. So what makes this parasite to do its function? Because of high concentration of chloroplast. Okay? And just like I've drawn, the cells are longer vertically than horizontally. This allows chloroplasts to migrate upward as slight intensity changes so that they are not damaged by excess light, so that they are not damaged when light is too much. So this position of the parasite cells, it's longer horizontally than vertically. This allows chloroplasts to move about when light is more so that it isn't damaged. So now, these are examples of specialized cells. Now let's just talk of the last component, cell organization, how cells are organized. So groups of cells, it makes groups of cells that have similar function, it makes tissue. Then groups of tissue that have similar function, it makes organ. Then groups of organs that has similar function, groups of organs, it makes system. Then groups of system, it makes organism. So this is how cells are organized. Thank you for watching my video. If you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, please subscribe, share my video, and click the bell icon so that whenever I post a new video, you can watch it. Thank you.